to Allie You, the business success and lifestyle show. My name is Allison Maslan. My friends call me Allie, and I'm a business growth mentor, and we help businesses scale their company and reach their dreams. And today you're going to get some actionable tips and steps that are going to help you get there, that you're going to be able to apply right away. And so I'm super excited to introduce my guest, Noah St. John, who is absolutely going to blow you away. How are you doing, Noah?
I'm great, Allie. Great to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited you're here. And listen to this cool fact about Noah. He is the only author in history. He's published 14 books. 14. I've got my second one coming out, and that was like pulling my hair out to make that happen. I don't even know how you do it, but by so many different publishers, Hay House, HarperCollins, Simon & Schuster, Mind Valley, on and on and on. And you have helped clients add more than $500 million in revenue. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about how your mindset gets in the way of making money. So if you want to make more money in your business right away, you stay and listen to the full interview that I have here. Before I jump right into it, I wanted you guys to know, many of you that follow me know that I'm a cheese addict and, had a hard time giving up sugar. But that's all stopped because JJ Virgin, and these are some of her shakes. And Noah, you know JJ.
We've known each other for 10 years. She's awesome.
Yeah, so I am all in with the JJ products and JJ Virgin products, and quitting sugar, quitting dairy and gluten, but these taste so freaking good. I'm doing her 7-day challenge. I haven't felt this good in a long time. I wanted to jump into summer feeling great. And so if you guys want to do this with me, just go to jjvirgin.com/Allison. All right. So anyway, so let's talk. When you and I met, and I was trying to think, Noah, who introduced us, and I can't remember.
Well, we met at a Debbie Allen event where we were both speaking. So
we did, but we talked on the phone before that, and you actually shared with me this process that you came up with called Affirmations. So I want to get into your story and all of that, but let's start off with that because it's so powerful and something that you created, but it's not like typical affirmations.
No, not at all. So just for the folks listening, who, if you haven't heard of me before, we're saying a new word. It's a word that I invented called Affirmations. This is my Hay House book. You mentioned Hay House. So it's Affirmations, not affirmations. So just to give you a little background, just a real quick background, because I think the context is important for folks to understand where this all came from and what it
Absolutely. Please.
So I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood. I know that's a total cliche, but I grew up in this little town. It's totally true. I grew up in this little town called Kennebunkport, Maine, which just happens to be one of the wealthiest communities in New England. But my family was dirt poor. And I mean that literally. We lived at the bottom of a dirt road in a drafty, unfinished house that my parents ended up losing to foreclosure. So from a very young age, I was painfully exposed to the dichotomy, the gap, the chasm between the haves and the have-nots. The haves was everyone else in the community. The have-nots was my family. And so as a kid, it was really confusing because my parents worked really, really hard. And, you hear growing up, well, if you work hard, you'll be successful. I'm like, well, they're working hard and they're not successful. What's the problem here? So it didn't make any sense. Meanwhile, across the street was people, they didn't seem to be working so hard and they had lots of money and, things and food and stuff, and I was like, wow, this didn't make any sense. So, I'm a nerd, right? I'm probably the nerdiest nerd in this industry. What I mean by that is I like to take things apart and see what's missing and fill in the gaps, that other people seem to leave behind sometimes. And so what I did was I just had to know. It just bugs me to not know the answer to something. So I just went to the library. I didn't know any other, I didn't have anyone to talk to. Certainly I couldn't go to my family. They couldn't help me. So I just went to the library and I started reading books on, personal growth, spiritual growth, self-help, all the classics, Napoleon Hill, Dale Carnegie, just trying to figure out how to succeed. The problem was I was working really hard too. I ended up working really hard and I wasn't successful. So at the age of 25, I decided to commit suicide. I was at a point in my life where I said, I just don't want to be here anymore. I've been working hard and I'm not seeing any results. And it was very depressing. So I decided to take my own life. Now, at the very last moment, my life was spared. I share that full story in the book of Affirmations. But bottom line is, I was spared at the very last moment. And I decided to devote the rest of my life to serving God and serving humanity as best I could while I was still here on the earth. The problem was I still didn't know why I was here on the earth. And so I'm like, well, great. Now, what do? I still don't know why I'm here. So it wasn't until 5 years later that I had this epiphany that really changed my life. And what I always like to say to people is, have you ever noticed you get your best ideas in the shower? Right? How many times have we had that? I'm sure.
I say that all the time.
I mean, we all have those aha moments in the shower. Well, in my book, I call it the shower that changed everything. Because on this particular morning, I was thinking about the fact that I've been reading all these books for all these years, doing everything they said, and I was still very frustrated. I still didn't have anything that I wanted. I wasn't successful. I didn't have the life I wanted, and yet I was following what they said. I was writing down. Now, if you've ever read a self-help book, you know what an affirmation is, right? Of course, an affirmation is a statement of something you want to be true. So a classic affirmation is, I am rich. And you say, I am rich. And your brain says, yeah, right. Right? So we say the positive statement, but we just don't believe it. And so what do the traditional teachers say? Well, if you don't believe your statement, just repeat it 1,000 million billion cajillion times and you'll believe it someday, right? We've heard this a million times, right? So now for some people that worked just fine, but for millions of us, people like me, it didn't work at all. And we ended up more frustrated than before. And so I said, so I was in the shower thinking about all this. I'm going, why have I been doing everything they said? And I'm not getting any results. I go, there's got to be something missing. There's got to be something they're not telling us. But what is it? And I started thinking about what are we talking about? We're talking about beliefs, right? Because if you want to change your life, you got to change your beliefs. I knew that had to be right. But I said, well, what's a belief? Well, a belief is a thought. Okay, so what is thought? And the more that I thought about it, I realized that human thought is the process of asking and searching for answers to questions, not statements, but questions. For example, if I say to you, why is the sky blue? Why is the sky blue? Now, what immediately happens in your brain? You start to search for the answer, right?
I figure it out.
Right. So just like a Google search, right? Or a computer. Your brain's like a computer. So, like a computer searching its files. And you go, well, the sky's blue because, I don't know. But it's searching, right? And in fact, you can't not do it. It happens without your own volition.
Right.
And I said, now, wait a second. If the human mind is automatically searching for answers to questions, why are we going around making statements we don't believe? Because the problem isn't the statement. The problem is we don't believe the statement. So I said, well, okay, if that's true, well, then how could we change this? I said, well, let's see. You get the statement or affirmation. One of the things I like to do at my live events, right, I have everybody stand up. I say, okay, we're going to do the classic affirmation. Ready? So everybody go say, I am rich. And they go, I am rich. And you know what happens next? Everybody starts laughing. I go, what are you laughing at? They go, well, I'm not rich. I go, but you just said you were. And they say, yeah, but I don't believe it. See, that's the problem. It's what I call the yeah, right response. Your brain goes, yeah, right. So I said, well, if that's the statement, then what would the question be? And I said, why am I so rich? Why am I so rich? Now, when you ask that question, what immediately starts to happen in your brain? You start to search for the answer, right?
Right.
So I said, what we're talking about is the law of sowing and reaping. As you sow, so shall you reap. Of course, this is nothing new. It's been taught for centuries. But what are we sowing? We're sowing seeds of thought. But what are most people doing? Sowing lousy thought seeds. Why am I so stupid? Why am I so fat? Why can't I lose weight? Why can't I grow my business? Why can't I get the right clients? Why is there more month left at the end of the money? Right? Now, when you ask lousy questions, what do you get?
Lousy answers.
Lousy answers, right. And that creates a lousy life.
And you feel awful.
What if instead of asking lousy questions that lead to lousy answers and create a lousy life, what if we just flip the whole thing around, start asking empowering questions that lead to phenomenal answers and create a wonderful life? And as I was standing there in the shower, April 1997, I said, holy cow, I think I just invented something. And so I had to give it a name, and the name that I gave it was Affirmations, not Affirmations, Affformations. And you can Google that. You can Google Affirmations and my name, Noah St. John, and you'll see that they're just unbelievable, incredible, but all true success stories of people who've used my Affirmations method to like double or triple their income, to lose hundreds of pounds after they've tried every diet and exercise program.
So give me some more examples with that.
Yeah,
so
well, I'll give you.
Why am I so rich?
Right.
And so basically, you're by doing that, the experience is then you can really see yourself in your mind feeling rich. You know, why am I so energetic? Why am I so happy?
So think about what most people are unconsciously doing. They're unconsciously asking disempowering questions. So the classic one is, why am I so stupid? You know, that's just a very common one. Why am I so dumb? Why can't I do anything right? Well, when you ask that question, what are you going to get? The answer, right? Well, I'm stupid because I did that wrong and I screwed that up and I made that mistake. It's like, great, this is fun, right?
Yeah.
So this leads to the whole thing that I call your head trash.
Yeah.
That's my latest book. But your head trash is that voice in your head that says, I can't do it because ... And then you just fill in the blank. Well, I can't do it because I'm not smart enough. I can't do it because I don't have the money. I can't do it because I don't have the time. I can't do it because I don't have the connections or whatever it is. See, and then it becomes true. See, so all of these things work together. And what with my Affirmations method now, for the first time in human history, we can take conscious control of the questions we're asking and change the questions and thereby change your life.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the experience that you find when people start asking these kinds of questions, how does it impact them on a daily basis? So if they say, you know, why am I so successful? Then what is the next thing from there? Like, what's the next step? Is it just, oh, I'm thinking I'm successful?
Well, let me give you an example of many, many that we have. You know, I like to brag about my clients and my students.
I want to, because I think
so let me,
it's more relatable.
Exactly. So I'll share a story of Susan. Susan came to us from California. She actually heard me on a show similar to this. It was a radio program, and was just so captivated by my story and, the fact that, oh my gosh, we have this new technology now, a new technology of the mind called Affirmations. You never heard of it, of course. And so she, decided to join my program and get our online, join my online programs and things like that and get coaching from me. Now, just the backstory of Susan is she came to me, when she came to me, she was $60,000 in credit card debt. Now, she didn't get into that much debt buying, shoes and bags and clothes and stuff like that. She did that by buying self-help programs, right? So she had invested over $60,000 in programs that were supposed to help her, right? So the problem is they weren't helping her, number one. Number two, she was about to lose everything. She was about to lose her home. She was about to lose her marriage. Her husband said, I can't take it anymore. You're buying all these programs. We're supposed to be going up. We're going down. This is not help. This isn't working. And so she was literally almost at the end of her rope. So anyway, she heard me. She joined my program. She got coaching from me. Long story short, using my Affirmations method and my, I have another program called the Power Habit System, which is the power habits of unconsciously successful people. So I taught her how to do these things to get her foot off the brake, to get rid of that head trash that I was just talking about. Long story short, in less than a year, she went from $60,000 in debt to a six-figure income. She landed her dream job. She's now a television producer. She's been nominated for an Emmy twice. And in fact, she's just published her first book, which she asked me to write the foreword for because of how I changed her life. So, going from $60,000 in debt, and remember, that was from self-help programs that were supposed to have helped her, okay, to being totally stuck, to a six-figure income in less than a year. And a big, big part of that was using my Affirmations and Power Habits methods.
So, but how can you give me an example of what you had her do?
Yeah, absolutely. So talking about the Affirmations. So basically there's 4 steps to Affirmations, which, I teach you that in the book. But basically it's it's pretty straightforward. It's very simple. The first step is to ask yourself what you want. What is it that you want to manifest? What's your pot of gold, right? So where do you want to go?
Okay.
And so that's the first step. And a lot of people come to me and they don't really know what they want. They're not clear on that. So that's a big step. It might seem like, oh, well, no kidding. But actually, it's a little deeper than you might think. So that's the first step. Then the second step is to affirm that what you want is already true. So an example like you just mentioned, or, like what Susan did, is she said, well, why did I finally land my dream job? Why am I now manifesting the life that I really want? Okay. Now your brain's going to go, huh? What? That doesn't make any sense at first, right? You're like, what? But see, that's the third step. That's what leads to the third step, which is to give yourself to the question. All right. So what we teach our students and our clients is to do 4 things: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Those are the 4 modes of human communication: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So, like in my book of Affirmations, I give you over 400 affirmations in the 10 major areas of life. So you can read them. You, of course, can write your own affirmations. I have people who carry around journals and write their own affirmations. And that's an awesome thing to do. The third thing is to say them out loud. Like I have a lot of married people or partners, they say it to each other, and that's awesome. Or you say it to your kids. Kids love affirmations. We've got kids getting better grades and self-confidence and just self-esteem. It's awesome. And so that's the third step. Oh, and then the fourth mode is to listen to them. So we have things called I Affirm audios where you can listen to them over and over, even while you sleep. While you're busy, you're on the treadmill or doing emails or whatever, you can actually be reprogramming your subconscious thought patterns while you're not even paying attention. That's called I Affirm audios. And so that's how you give yourself. So you really are restructuring your brain, okay? And then the fourth step, which is the most important by far, and that is to act based on your new assumptions. See, we all have assumptions about life. Most of our assumptions, I have observed in the 20 plus years that I've been doing this, most of our assumptions are negative or what I call disempowering. Like I was saying earlier, why am I so stupid? Why can't I do anything right? Well, if that's what you're affirming, then you're going to make yourself right. That's your head trash. So the point is that what I want your audience to know, Allison, is that everybody, every one of you, in fact, every human walking the earth right now is already using affirmations. Everybody's already doing this. The problem is they don't know they're doing it, number one. Yeah. Number two, most people are doing it in a disempowering way. Like, right. Why am I so dumb? Why am I so fat? Why can't I lose weight? I had one client who came to me and she was making about $5,000 a month in sales. She had spent tens of thousands of dollars on all these different self-help programs. And I taught her the affirmations method and power habits. Long story short, in less than a year, her business went from making $5,000 a month to $75,000 a month. That's a 1,500% increase in less than a year. It sounds impossible. It sounds insane. Well, go watch the video where she talks about how she did it. It's right on the website.
Well, it's just a testament to that the only thing in between us and what we really want to achieve, Noah, is our thoughts, our head, our actions, and
right.
And so, which is exciting because I think that people feel that, well, that's attainable for her or for him, but not for me. And if we can really get rid of that head trash and shift the questions that you're asking to empowering instead of disempowering, we can change everything. So that's very cool. And so thanks for sharing that. That's so exciting. And I'm going to start switching my questions around. So I love that. Now, your new book, which, do you have that on you? Can you show me that?
I can show it to you. I just happen to have one right here.
Get rid of your head trash about money. So right. It kind of leads into where the affirmations kind of left off. So can you tell us about this book?
Yes, absolutely. So as I mentioned, I've been doing this for 20 plus years. I started in 1997 after I had that epiphany in the shower that I just shared with you. I started my company in my college dorm room with $800 and a book on how to do HTML. I had no idea what I was doing. I just said, wow, this is a pretty amazing discovery. I could really help a lot of people, just have to get the word out. And so, in all this time, of course, we've had just so many amazing success stories from our clients and students. And lately what's happened is that people, find me and they say, hey, Noah, you know what? I'm feeling stuck. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I hear you're the guy that helps people get unstuck. Can you help me get unstuck? Can you help me get out of this overwhelm? I just kept hearing this over and over and over again. And so I started thinking about it. I'm going, why am I hearing this so much? Why am I hearing all of this stuckness and this overwhelm? And I'm going, well, so again, being a nerd, I'm the nerdiest nerd. I go, I got to unpack this, right? I got to find out what's going on here and then fix it. I can't help it. I got to fix these things. So I started thinking about, really talking to my clients and researching and saying, what is stuckness? Number one. Number two, what's causing it? And number three, how do we fix it, right? So what I realized is that stuckness is really an overwhelm. They're really very much combined, okay? And so one of the things that's causing this feeling of stuckness or overwhelm is this phenomenon that I call your head trash. As I mentioned earlier, your head trash is that voice in your head that says, I can't do it because. Again, it's ... You fill in the blank, right? I can't do it because I'm too old. I can't do it because I don't have the money. I can't do it because I don't have the time, whatever, right? But again, here's the thing to remember is you always make yourself right. All right. So if you believe that, well, I can't do it because I don't have the time. Oh, guess what? You find that you don't have the time. Meanwhile, I can show you that we all have the same amount of time. You, me, Bill Gates, Mark Cuban, Richard Branson, we all have the same 24 hours, right? They haven't figured out how to make the Earth rotate any slower. They got the same 24 hours as all of us. So how come they're so successful and most people aren't? Again, it has to do with systems. It has to do with getting rid of this head trash and so forth, and not buying that, not listening to that guy. So that's what's really nice is that once you identify your head trash, that voice in your head and what it's saying to you, then you can start using affirmations and powered habits to actually get rid of that, literally take out the trash and start to get the results you want.
Because it really is trash, and it's recycled trash.
Right. Well, think about this, Allison.
Because you think those same things over and over again.
Exactly. Think about this, all right? And for everyone watching, just think about this. So imagine your house, right? Your home where you live. And imagine you say, you know what? I don't think I'm going to take out the trash this week. You say, you know what? I don't feel like taking out the trash. And you let the trash go for about a week. And you say, and the next week comes, you go, you know what? I don't think I'll take the trash out this week. And you let another week. And then you let a month go by, and 2 months, and 3 months, and 6 months, and a year. How do you think your home is looking right now? Pretty gross, right? I mean, you couldn't live in it. It would be impossible. Yeah. And yet, there's people who haven't taken out the trash in their head for 10, 20, 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
You're still hearing that same
voice. That's quite a visual if you think about it that way. Not only is it so freaking heavy.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's all that negative energy.
Yes. And as I was saying, you always make yourself right. So if you've been thinking that trash for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and you go, gee, I wonder why I'm getting the same results. Well, because you're holding on to those same beliefs. I'm not trying to put anybody down. I'm not trying to be critical. I'm trying to literally hold up a mirror and show you, you don't have to keep thinking this stuff, like going back to Susan, who had spent $60,000 on all these, gurus and self-help stuff. Well, the point is they never pointed this out to her, so it wasn't her fault that she was, spending all that time, money, and effort. It was the fact that she just didn't have the proper framework to literally take out that trash.
Right. Yes. And I think too, oftentimes you might be thinking in your business, this isn't working or this strategy isn't working. Well, the strategy might be perfectly great, but if what's in between your ears is old thinking, old negativity, whatever from our upbringing, like what you said that you went through, then, it doesn't matter what the strategy is. It's still going to hold you back.
Right.
Until you clear that out. So,
exactly. So as you were just saying a moment ago, people listening to this could be saying, oh yeah, well, I'm sure it worked for her, but I bet it won't work for me. Well, there you go. You're going to make yourself right. Okay. Exactly. I'm giving you the same system, or, we have it available. It's right here. We have all these systems, these strategies, these frameworks available. I've been teaching for 20 years. I've helped people make hundreds of millions of dollars. If you come to me and say, well, I bet it won't work for me, guess what? You're going to be right.
Yeah, exactly.
That has nothing to do with the teaching. Okay, so we're just inviting you to go, gee, how long do I want to keep thinking this? How long do I want to keep this trash in my home, right, guys?
Yeah.
Right?
And it doesn't just affect business; it affects your relationships. It affects
Absolutely.
your health.
No
And
question.
all areas of your life. Well, this is so fascinating, and you talk about in this book, and we may have talked about it already, but the three biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make when it comes to reaching their goals.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and by the way, that is the subtitle of the book. It's Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. And the subtitle is How to Avoid the Three Big Money Mistakes Even Smart People Make. And I know everybody watching this program is very smart. So, however, you may be making one or more of these mistakes without knowing it. So the first big mistake that I see people making is not getting rid of their head trash, right? Just not even realizing that it's there. So that's, what we've been talking about. Right there, that's going to stop you and that's going to keep you stuck, right? That's what I was talking about earlier. So that is the first big mistake. The second big mistake that I see people making is not having a mentor, right? Not just trying to do everything by yourself, not having any support system. So at Success Clinic, what we teach is that a mentor is two things. Number one, someone who's where you want to be. Now, that's the easy part. You can't turn on Facebook without some hotshot saying, hey, look at my cool this and look at my that. Woo, aren't I awesome? It's like, yeah, you're awesome, dude. Have you helped anybody else? Right? And that's the thing. It's like, well, no, it's all about them, right? So if it's all about them, then do they have a system or do they have a personality? Usually 9 times out of 10, 99 out of 100, it's basically personality driven, not systems driven. So the second part, which is far more important, is have they helped anybody else? That's what, like I was saying, I'd rather brag about my clients than me. Because if it's just me, and yeah, you don't want to be following someone who's living in a van down by the river, right? To borrow Chris Farley's phrase, remember that from Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
I'm living in a van down by the, probably not the best mentor, right? So that's, of course, why that was funny, right? Just Google that if you haven't seen it. It is hilarious.
Yes, I have. It is funny.
Yeah, but my point is that, I get it. You don't want to be following that guy. But the point is, have they helped anyone else? That's why I'd rather brag about if you go to our website and just click on the results tab. It's just dozens and dozens of stories, real life, real people, ordinary people getting extraordinary results using my system because it's system based. And that's the second big mistake. And then the third big mistake I see people making, and even if you're not making these first two, this one can really hold you back. And that is gathering too much information without giving yourself permission to succeed. Literally just keep gathering information and not giving yourself permission to succeed. Now, not accidentally, my first book happened to be titled Permission to Succeed, because that's what I discovered 20 years ago, was that we don't really need more how-tos of success. What most of us need is to give ourselves permission to succeed. That's why I trademarked that phrase. I own that phrase. But my point is that, there's so many people look, we're all overloaded with information. Okay. And I get that. The point is that, as you mentioned earlier, I've written 14 books that have been published now in 17 different languages. I'm the only author in history published by Hay House, HarperCollins, Mind Valley, Nightingale, Conant, Simon & Schuster, and the Chicken Soup for the Soul publisher. No one else has ever done that before. Now, is that because I'm so smart and great? Well, I don't think so. I think it's because I have the ability to focus, right? I have the ability to just eliminate distractions and focus. Now, the point is that nowadays, in today's overwhelmed, overworked society, that's like a superpower, just to be able to eliminate distractions and focus, because that's what so many people come to me and they just say, no, I'm overwhelmed and lack of focus. And I just hear this over and over. And I go, well, that's a skill that you can develop. It's like a muscle, it's going to take some work, but you can do it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, and you have a special gift that you're giving away, and we're going to have it on our library. So you're actually going to give away, tell everybody what your gift is.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're giving you a copy of this book, Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. All you need to do is, I've paid for the book. We just ask you to cover the shipping. All right. So if you go to sendmeabooknoah.com, very easy to remember, sendmeabooknoah.com, and I will send you a book.
Actually on our library. So if you go to AllisonMaslan.com/library, we'll have it there. And you can also get all of the gifts and downloads from all of our guests on Allie You. But how generous for Noah to have this book for you all. And we'll have the URL below so that you can grab that. And you want to do that right away and get rid of that head trash work on your affirmations, change the questions that you're asking to make them empowering, and that's truly going to change your life.
Yes.
And help you reach all the goals that you desire. So, well, this has been awesome, Noah. Thank you for coming on and sharing this wealth of knowledge. You've been doing this for a long, long time. You've helped a lot of people. And I love your new book. I'm going to read it myself.
Great. Well, thanks. I mean, it's been a pleasure, Allison, and I look forward to seeing everybody. And, great to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. And you can check out more of Noah's work at his website, noahstjohn.com. And for those of you that have those big dreams, know that they are so attainable. It's right there waiting for you. And we love sharing this knowledge with you, these tips, these steps, the support on Allie You. And we have new shows every single week. We've been running since 2011. And our mission is really to help you to break through to the next level in your business, because we know that business is the best way to change your life and change the world. So you can go to subscribetoallie.com. That will subscribe you to all our shows on iTunes. But we are on all of the platforms out there for podcasts. Thank you for joining us today. And Noah, we will be talking to you soon. Thanks for being with us. All right. Bye, everybody.